absolutely on another level. Mental, absolutely mental. Hello fellas, welcome back to a brand new video. I'm here with Gavin and his mental RX-7. I've been following him on Instagram for a couple of months now, and mate, your Instagram's mint, what you do on there, and this car is just another level. Absolutely another level. It's an RX-7 with a K20. K24.
Yeah.
Four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Because these cars originally were never, these were always rear-wheel drive.
Yeah.
With a rotary engine.
Yeah.
They were never four-wheel drive with a four-pot engine.
No.
So, and you were telling us just before we started, you paid 200 quid for the car.
Yeah. Bought the car basically as a shell up in Shetland around about 13, 14 years ago, and it's definitely escalated from there. It's turned into a bit of a weapon.
And you do everything yourself, don't you?
Yeah,
You've
absolutely.
learned on the job, learned doing this car, everything.
Yeah, when it comes to welding, YouTube has been a massive one for me for that. Teaching myself to weld, tuning as well. Been a lot of reading, research on how to tune the cars, wiring. Well, I'm an electrician to trade, so if you wouldn't think that looking at the wiring inside the car, so you're probably going to have to blur a lot of that out. But yeah, electrician to trade, so yeah, when it comes to wiring and mapping and ECUs and fitting stuff, it was very much just try it and see, trial and error. So.
And you had this on the quarter of a mile yesterday?
Yeah, so
in constant 9-second passes, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's a no prep circuit near us called Crail Raceway, and to give you an example of the traction, there's moss on the track. Yeah, it's proper
Scottish just roads.
In fact, you know, I've done testing obviously on a closed road and stuff like that, and I get more traction on the street and on the road than I do at Crail, so it's definitely interesting. But yeah, so I got 5 passes. The slowest one was a 9.9, the fastest one was a 9.6.
Right.
So it's
quite consistent.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting
so we'll start on the outside, mate.
Yeah.
So from standard, obviously, you've put the wider arches on.
Yeah.
What else have we done? Like, if we start the front.
So the front bumper is a C West front bumper. I think it was just an eBay job. When I bought the car, it had no wings, no bumpers, no nothing. So it was basically...
Did it not?
No, just basically go on eBay and sort of buy all the parts, stick all together. Most of the car is fiberglass now. The roof is steel, well, filler and steel, I should say. Steel. The back arches, part of them are still steel. The boot is still steel, and the doors are still
bonnet.
Steel. Yeah, carbon fibre bonnet. The wings are fiberglass. The lights are fiberglass. Front end's fiberglass. The over fenders, front and back, are fiberglass as well. Wing mirrors fiberglass. It's one of the things that makes it so light. You know, it's one of them.
Was it weird? You were saying it's quite light as well, isn't it? It's actually lighter as it stands now as to what would have came out from the factory.
Yeah, so K-Series swap. It's got a big heavy BMW ZF 8-speed in it, the gearbox. That's from a 2020 X5M. Unreal box, but they're very heavy. I think it's around about 100 kilograms on its own. But the full thing, full four-wheel drive converted with this engine conversion as well. Standing in at 1,193 kilograms, and that's weighed on scales and corner scales as well. So,
right.
So I think the standard are around about 1,200 to maybe 1,400. So yeah, it's got
quite a difference.
Yeah, and that's
like a
obviously,
person, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and one of the reasons is, you know, the interior and everything's stripped out. There's a lot of things that are cut out nowadays. The rotary engine itself is actually quite a heavy engine, although they're small. Yeah, they're full of steel. Right. And they're actually very, very heavy. And you know, then you get twin turbos and a lot of other stuff in there. They're air con and you know, additional stuff. Where this doesn't have any of that anymore. So.
Can we pop the bonnet, Gavin? Have a look.
Of course, man. Of course.
So under the bonnet, Honda K24 engine, you were saying?
Yeah. So the bottom end is a Honda K24 from an Accord Type S. So it's a 2.4 bottom end, and the head itself is from a Honda Civic Type R, so that's the K20 head.
Right.
They call them Frankenstein motors because you have the K24 bottom end and the K20 head. Yeah, this seems to be working. This is the engine that's been in the car for around about 3 and a bit years. I did have a K20 in it, completely standard K20. I had that around about 600 horsepower. It lasted a while, but it hucked a rod at ungodly speeds, and yeah, I got a bit of a scare, so I decided to stop playing with the stock block stuff and decided to kind of build this engine. So,
and you've moved the engine back. You've cut the bulkhead.
Yeah.
And moved the engine back, and the reason you've done that was to go 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
To get your transfer
exactly
thing in the front.
So basically, when the car was K-swap rear-wheel drive, the engine sat much further forward. and it was fine. I didn't have to cut none of the shuttle panel, didn't have to cut nothing at the way. The subframe was relatively basic as well. When I went through the revisions, obviously I was BMW DCT gearbox for a couple of years as well. I think 2019 I'd done that. The DCT gearbox, the dual clutch transmission stuff is next level. You still have a nice feel of like a manual box. You still have the aggression, the shifts. You feel every shift. It still keeps a lot of the character. But I was just finding I was overpowering the car. It's a very short wheelbase. You know yourself, these RX-7s in pictures, they look like quite big cars, but you see them in person, they're quite small.
Quite small.
Yeah, so I was overpowering it. You know, I'm trying to put down quite a number of horsepower, and it was just lighting the back wheels up. And I tried all sorts of traction strategies, and one day my friend gave me a shot in his four-wheel drive car, and I was just absolutely mind blown. I just decided it has to go four-wheel drive.
Has to go four-wheel drive.
Yeah, it has to.
And you were saying as well, you just buy bits off eBay, it turns up, and you kind of just hold it up, see if it fits.
Exactly. It's been, depending on your sort of version of success, it was successful immediately. I can't believe it's actually still together. It's been 5 months. I think I'm around about 250 hard launches on it now, dialing this thing in. And I've not broken anything yet, touch wood.
And this is the transfer box, the front diff, sorry.
Yeah, so this front diff here is from a BMW X5.
Like a diesel X5 or something?
Yeah, like a 2002 diesel X5. Nothing fancy. The only reason I chose this one is because the back diff ratio and the size of the back diff is called a large case diff from the BMWs. It's 210mm. It's quite a chunky thing. And I had to match the ratios from the front to the back. So when I lock the transfer case, both the front and back have to be the same ratio to make sure the wheels are turning at the same rate. Otherwise you can get binding up and it can cause all sorts of messy issues. So yeah, so I went for that. Obviously a steel body as well. You get some that are aluminium, but I needed it steel so I could weld parts on to make it fit.
That's what you done, just put it in, welded it up and bolted it on.
I plunked that into there where I had enough drive shaft angle where I thought I could get away with. It couldn't actually go through the sump of most full drive systems in this longual sort of direction. Your drive shaft would actually go through the middle of the sump. But the issue with the K-Series is because it's so tall, if I was to put the shaft through the middle of the sump, the engine would be sticking out the bay. So I just decided to stick the engine back.
Was the engine catching anyway? Is that why you kind of modified this rotor cover?
Well, yeah, the last bonnet I had, it was okay. But I bought this carbon one and it's got some extra bracing in it and some sort of...
So instead of cutting your bonnet, you cut the rotor cover?
Yeah. Yeah, so I was just scared. This is my fanciest bonnet I've ever had. So that's what I've done is I've just make things fit. You know, make this rack here's from an MX-5. The subframes as well, it's all braced up and cut, and there's chassis legs have been notched, but it's also been triangulated and braced back up again with subframe and extra points and mounting points. Yeah, I've just basically had to make things work. You know, I was just so determined to make it four-wheel drive. Even if I cut corners or tried things that were maybe a bit questionable to try and see if I could make it work, I could change it later on down the line. And that's what I've done basically.
So these as well, to stop the front end lift, like a strap going to your...
Yeah.
Does it go to your bottom arm or something?
Yeah, so...
I remember seeing this back in the day, stuff like this.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty common, wasn't it?
This is not my proudest thing I've ever thought of, but it works to a certain degree. These shocks and the coilovers I bought on them are really, really cheap. They're just straight off of the internet.
What are the coilovers? Are just cheap?
Oh, they're from Max Speed and Rods, yeah.
Mhm.
So I got them for free. They just gave me a set for free. And the reason I needed them cheap is because I was going to be cutting them up and cutting the bottoms to make them
so you didn't
work,
want to get a mint set and butcher them.
No, exactly. So
now you've got it set. Eventually, you'll probably get a nice setting.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the plan.
These don't have compression and rebound. They only have like a dual dampening sort of thing. But the problem is the front end comes up so quickly and so fast. The weight comes off the front end and the front wheels just light up. They just completely light up, and it puts too much stress on the back. And so ideally you need to try and keep the front down. And if I had rebound adjustment, separate rebound and compression adjustment, that would basically solve, and I would be able to get more quicker times and stuff and more traction. So
turbo, what we on, mate?
So this turbo is a Pulsar turbo. They're sort of... This version is actually a a Gen 3 they call it, which is same size as a GTX 35 AT4, but the turbine wheel and turbine side's a lot bigger. It's I think it's 70 more 4mm in the back, which makes it a little bit laggier, but I measure exhaust gas back pressure with this here, which is like just a coil of tubing, to measure the difference between the exhaust gas back pressure and the intake back pressure to stop EGR sort of coming back into the engine. And what I was finding was the normal turbos, I was gaining a lot of back pressure. So to reduce that, I just go for a larger wheel. But everything's been up and down with trying different setups, because if I have too small a turbo, I don't have the top end. And if I have too big a turbo, I can't get the car on the trans brake, which I'll show you the trans brake in a minute. It's, you're going to like that.
So what kind of boost, what kind of power we're running?
Right, power wise, I kind of like to keep it to myself, because I see people say, oh, it's 1,000 horse. It's not 1,000 horse, but it's probably it's up.
It's decent power.
Yeah, I'm going to say 700, like 700, I'll say 700.
Right.
But it could be 900 plus 100 shot offs. But it's about 700.
What kind of boost is it?
Just now, I've taken up to 2.5 bar of boost.
2.5 bar.
So I don't know what that is in PSI. But again, that's on E85 mix with pump fuel. So today we're on pump fuel.
Right.
So we'll probably be limited to around about 650 horse, something like that. So.
Right. So inside, home built cage, you built like I was saying, you do all this yourself. You literally just have a go. You don't send the car out to anyone. You do it all yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So home built cage.
Yeah, the trans tunnel as well. To get this four-wheel drive set to mix, I built a cage around the transfer case and the gearbox itself, and then I sheeted it with this steel. I just bought steel off, there's actually a big sheet from my local company, and I bought one of them bead rollers, because I've seen them guys on YouTube. I was going to see, have you put the beads? Yeah. You know, it was one of them things. It just adds a bit of strength as well, doesn't it? Oh,
stops
crazy,
the vibrating and
crazy amount of strength. I've been learning so much, you know, watching YouTube and seeing people as the way they do things.
YouTube now, you learn anything now on the internet.
It's class. So, but yeah, no, in here is very, very minimalistic. The dash is in to a certain degree. I've got it so I can take the dash out for working on the wiring. Right. There's a lot of systems I've got on this where it's wiring heavy with sensors, G-force sensors, or to control my transfer case, and I have all sorts of little modules I've made up where I need to access wiring, and so whipping the dash out only takes 2 seconds. It just saves me lying upside down on my legs against the cage to try to reach stuff. So
mate, I love how rough and ready it is. I love it. I love it. I love cars like this, just rough and ready.
It's got a lot of character, that's for sure.
Just a tool, like I said earlier, it's just a tool. It's built to do a job, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a show and shine car.
No.
It's not trying to be anything.
It's just a beast.
Yeah. So water leaking through every hole possible, man.
He was just washing it as I pulled up, so it is full of water.
So in here we have a 20 litre fuel cell. So this fuel cell, I don't actually know if you'll be able to see in here. It's a bit stiff, swells. But in here I've got 3 fuel pumps, and they come up to this block here, runs an A and 8 to the fuel rails. I run 2 fuel rails with 8 injectors. And it turns back through an ethanol content sensor and back to the tank, so it's easy for me making blends up with such a small tank.
Mate, it's unbelievable you've done all this yourself.
Like
the way you've learned. You said you bought the car when you were 18 and you've just learned on the job as you were doing it.
Yeah.
And unbelievable. So obviously you've got a nice bottle there as well.
Yeah, running nitrous. So I don't run nitrous for power. I've tried it, but if anyone's seen my stories, anyone's watching this that's seen my stories, like
on Instagram.
Yeah, it didn't end well. Like,
did it not?
No. I literally blew the welds on my intake manifold. The Fast and Furious quotes, and it was just one of them we always laughed about. When I put nitrous into the car, we just started talking Fast and Furious quotes, and yeah, I literally did blow the welds on my intake manifold. So just now I just use it for spooling the turbo.
Right.
To get up on the trans brake.
Is that kind of like an anti-lag type thing? Or am I miles off there saying that?
No, well, trans brake was a new thing to me as well. I didn't really know or understand what trans brake was. Basically, it locks the gearbox in, say, first and second, 2 different gears, or first and reverse. So this setup has a torque converter, and what it does is the torque converter is like a fluid coupling inside itself, and it's a complete science how this all works. But I've had to play a lot of different torque converters to get the stall right. But basically, the fluid has to kind of come round and grab itself, and with the trans brake, you can floor it, your engine will spin up, your box will stay still, and the fluid sloshing past its stator and pump and stuff like that causes a massive resistance. So basically it gets your engine under full load. It's not like a launch control, your engine's under full load, and when you let go of the button, the fluid then has to try and catch up with the output, which gives a nice soft dampening effect. There's no like a sharp break of traction or nothing like that. And just for a split second until it catches up again with the turbine or stator. I have to apologise, I don't know exactly the words of these internals of this torque converter, but the actual catching up of the two components has this insane surge of torque and power and G-force. Well, like today we'll probably be pulling around about 2 Gs on the launch.
Really?
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Mate.
And it's down to this trans brake, so.
Unbelievable, mate, honestly. Without even going out on it, hats off to you for building it. Honestly, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Cheers.
Can we go out on it though?
Of course, man.
Oh,
take it for a wee rip. Yeah,
so is it almost jointed underneath?
Yeah, most of it is. You'll hear the noises when we go around the corner. This one here will knock like absolute hell when we come round, just with the welded diff.
Aye. That's just the tyres skipping on the floor.
Yeah, tyres skipping and slightly loose rose joints and stuff. So
yeah, you've got your BMW gearbox there.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah.
what you got in there? Just drive.
So this now is in drive, so it does all the changing itself. So you see, third gear.
All right.
It'll just like an automatic. I don't have to do nothing. Completely, even changing down, it'll do itself. So. It's relatively civilised, relatively.
Well, as civilised as you can get.
Yeah. I'll keep the exhaust closed just now.
Keep what low?
The exhaust.
The closed?
Yeah. Because it gets a little bit loud, so.
Smell all the race car stuff?
Yeah. Sounds quite like a tractor.
I was going to say, but I didn't want to insult you, but it does sound quite tractory.
Yeah. So one of the reasons when I built the car and built this engine, I wanted to keep everything really loose. So I wanted to keep the piston to wall loose, I wanted to keep the piston and gap quite loose, I keep the valve tray and tappets quite loose.
Right.
So I just feel like I can beat on it a little bit more with the beat on it a little bit more with looser paddles.
When it's looser?
Yeah, looser engine. So it does get a little bit better when it warms up, but when you first start it, it sounds chappy. So the car itself, it's not civilised, but it's not
hard to drive.
No. And you'll see as well, it's not too hard either. It's quite.
No, that's quite comfortable to sit in.
It's not too bad.
You've got the max speed and rod coilovers on the front as well, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I had them on a Subaru and it was rock hard.
Yeah. I've got these on full soft. I've changed the spring rates on them as well to be quite soft, yeah. So just when you need to get traction on the roads I race on, it needs to be soft. So if it's too hard, it'll break traction. So I'll open up the exhaust now.
Wow, that is a lot louder, that mine, isn't it?
We'll do just a little pull, just have a look at the fuel.
Right.
See how she goes. Rolling launch control.
Jesus Christ! Wow, man! Like at first I felt, I was like, has he got his foot down? Then the boost was to kick in and just bosh! Went.
Oh, that's nothing yet, man. That's nothing.
Oh, man!
Oh, yeah, it gets up there fast. It gets up there fast.
What have you had flat out with the car?
Top speed.
Top speed?
Quite high, like.
Quite high?
Yeah.
Have you tried it, like, pretty, on a private road, of course?
Yeah, private road, I've gone over 190.
Have you?
Yeah. It's scary.
Aye.
It's scary.
I wouldn't fancy being sat here when you were doing it.
No, I didn't fancy sitting here either. I mean, it does 150 mile an hour and a quarter mile, so it doesn't need a long stretch to get to 70 mile an hour.
And you were saying it is a light car, even compared with standard RX-7. This is even lighter still, isn't it?
Yeah,
even though it's 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, it's proper light. So
right, so this is my first launch in the car.
yeah,
Whenever you're ready, mate.
yeah, should be good,
I'm
man.
nervous, right? But
We'll see how it launches on sort of medium boost.
so this is medium boost.
Yeah, it's not a lot of boost, just with pump fuel. Ready?
Ready? Jesus Christ, man! That was absolutely something else. Oh, man!
The road held it quite well, so I think we're going to have to try some more boost.
More boost!
Oh yeah. I was around about 1.4 bar, so
My stomach there was just, I felt like it just pulled into a ball.
see not to 60 in 2.5 seconds.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Felt every bit of that, mine. Every bit.
Oh, class.
Right, second launch, and we're going more boost.
Yeah, we'll go full blown boost.
Mate, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
That these cars passed,
Yeah. What's the ethanol content is? Yeah, I'm only 33 E33 just now, so that's not a wild amount of content. So, right,
Mate, I'm nervous, honestly, after that first one, I'm nervous.
it's pretty nerve-wracking then.
He's a
Away
car.
for these cars.
I was
yeah.
going to say, away from me, you would. He's
He's
moving, isn't
nipping
he?
on.
He's as well, isn't he?
Yeah, these are my roads. Hey, buddy, you ready?
I'm ready. That is something else.
That's nuts.
That is something else, that, mate. Honestly, that is absolutely mental.
Every time, man, it gets me every time, man. Oh, the best, man, the best.
Ah, it's truth. So that was more boost.
More boost, yeah, so a decent amount of power, but not all of it at all.
How many you've done about 200 launches in the car?
Yeah. As here, there's no spin at all. It's just completely
Just goes.
power management. I've got the thing dialed right in, so.
What tyres are you on?
These tyres are Accelera Sport Extras.
Is it like a track tyre?
Kind
It's
of, I
semi-slick.
think. Yeah, they're soft, nice soft rubber sort of thing, so. They're from Street Tire UK.
Is it what people use for like drag race, like for launch types?
I actually think
Racing.
people use them for drifting.
Do they?
Yeah, so I mean they've been great with me, like so. Yeah, so and they're just nice soft compounds and they seem to hook. So
Aye.
I would love to maybe
Mate, they
try.
definitely hook.
Yeah, it's mad. Isn't it?
So you've done 200 launches on that gearbox?
Yeah.
And was it a diesel gearbox, a BMW?
What's that? Sorry. Oh, is there?
What'd you say?
There's a turning just up here. Yeah, this thing's not got power steering, love. I might want to grab the camera quick because there's a guy there.
Is that?
Yeah. Yeah, what did you think of that launch then?
Mate, that is absolutely something else. That is the hardest launch you car I've been in.
Yeah,
I'm going for another launch.
yeah, might as well.
So you've just opened the exhaust there.
Yeah. Hold on, trans brake. Put down, that's slow. soon. Sitting back to civilization again. Another 0 to 60 in 2 seconds.
2 seconds to 60.
Yeah.
Ah, mate.
Yes, it's
what a thing.
Oh.
What a thing.
And the thing is, you know, it'll do that all day long. I mean, I've done hundreds of launches in this thing, and it just more and more. I need to touch boots though, because it's not uncommon for something to go.
So what's your plans for it now? Like what you're working on at the minute with it?
The other day they was working on fuel system stuff to make sure I had enough fuel for ethanol. You need a lot of fuel for ethanol.
Right.
A lot more fuel pump, a lot more injector. So that's kind of done now. The next stage, I don't really know where to go with it now. For me to start getting 8-second passes is a big jump in money.
Right.
And
is that what you want to do next? Maybe go a bit faster on the passes?
Sometimes I feel like when I go, you able to get that camera there?
Oh, well, I'll get it. I'm strapped in with my harness. I'm trying to foot it over.
They're a pain in the arse, these things, don't they?
Another launch. What's this, the 4th launch? Mate, I'm going to be sick. My stomach's going to be in bits here.
It's all a bit of fun. Hey buddy, you ready?
Go.
There's a 9-second pass for you.
Was that 9-second pass?
9-second pass.
Ah, smooth, mate. Mate, it's unbelievable, that. Unbelievable.
You know, see how stable it is as well.
Ah, it is.
These guys can't see the road we're on. Sorry, the track we're on. It's no dual carriageway.
No, definitely not.
But the car is really stable, like, isn't it?
Mate, remember how strong this is as well, man.
Oh yeah.
Like you see it, 200 launches, and was it yesterday you were at the track just launching it non-stop?
Launch after launch, so yeah man, it's good fun. It's good fun.
What's people's general reaction when you take them? Just like mine, just Jesus Christ, just a combination of swear words.
I think I've taken maybe 3 people for a run in it. So
really?
Not many people. Everyone's been pretty
blown away.
Yeah. That launch is weird though, isn't it?
Oh man.
It's so strange. So what days we'll do here, we'll do a burnout.
A burnout, I will.
The burnout in this thing, all I need to do is put it in the first gear and hold the foot in the brake.
Right.
And then I just put the foot down.
That it? Made a burnout.
There you go. It actually goes better when I open the exhaust up, eh?
Does it?
There we go. Can't breathe when it's closed. Look behind us. Last party trick will be rolling anti-lag.
Rolling anti-lag? Honestly, I get genuinely scared when you flip it with a gun. I get genuinely scared.
Oh man, this is a scary car, isn't it?
Absolutely mental. Mate, thanks so much for that. Thank you so much. If you want to see more of Gavin's car as well, you might be going on the officially gas battles.
Yeah. So been speaking to Jamie, just need to sort a date. Go down.
Are you going to be racing Jamie in his
Integra? Yeah. So
that'd be good to watch mine. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be a close race.
I'll leave a link as well to Gavin's Instagram. Check it out, give him a follow, and see what he gets up to with the car. 'Cause you're always in the garage messing about, aren't you, mate? And it's quite interesting. I've learned a lot through your Instagram.
Yeah, nice and transparent. What I like to kind of put it all out there.
But yet again, fellas, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, because I certainly did. And thanks to Gavin for taking us out. I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers. Mate, thanks so much for that.
There you go,
So
buddy.
much.
She's good.